So last week I uploaded my grid, my practice grid, onto Patreon. So I thought I would explain it because a couple of people have asked how to use it. So you'll notice there are 4 rows and 3 columns. So that's 12 boxes. Each one of those boxes has a note in it, and that note is one of the notes from the chromatic scale. So one of the 12 notes that make up all of the notes within all of the keys. So the way I would use this, just to go back, the reason it's in a random order and not in the same order alphabetically or in the order of the circle of fifths is because I want it to be random so that it makes me think, because otherwise you'll get used to it. If you're playing the same pattern in sequence, or if you're using the circle of fifths, you can get used to where each thing is. The idea of this is sometimes I'll use it going left to right, sometimes I'll use it going down, sometimes I'll come backwards, okay, so that it's always different and it's always making me think. So let's start with A. We go in sequence. So let's play a minor pentatonic, and we're going to play in this position here. Okay, so first finger on the 5th fret, and we're going to move within that sort of 3 fret area. So we're going to play an A minor pentatonic scale. Then I'm going to move to a D minor pentatonic, but I'm going to stay in the same position. Now the reason I'm doing this is because if you say to most people, play a D minor pentatonic, they'll come up and play it here. But doing that, you haven't learnt anything and you haven't done anything new. So you're going to play in this same position. Let's look at a B flat minor pentatonic. Now an E minor pentatonic. Again, we're playing in the same position. A C minor pentatonic. An F sharp minor pentatonic. So you get the idea of what I'm doing here. I'm using this to make sure that I play in one position and I figure out the notes that I need for that, or the patterns that I need in that area. Now you can also use it for chords. So let's say within a certain period or a certain area of the fretboard I want to play a major 7 chord. So let's start with A, an A major 7. Okay, then I'm going to go, let's go down this time, we'll do a different order, we go down. So now I'm going to do an E major 7 chord. Okay, same area. A B major 7 chord. An F major 7 chord. Okay, this really teaches you to know your fretboard and where your chords are, your scales, your arpeggios, all this sort of stuff. So next we'll look at an arpeggio. So we do triads, and the reason we'll do triads is in my last guitar lesson that I did on YouTube, we had a section on there for triads. So let's do minors. So let's go backwards. So we're going to start with G and we're going to go up. So G minor arpeggio. Now an E flat minor arpeggio. An F sharp minor arpeggio. A B flat minor arpeggio. Okay, so this will make you think about what you're doing in an area. So you may start here, you might start down here. So again, you'd play in a totally different way, and you'd have to think of new ways of doing it and come out of your normal positions of just playing. You know, if you say play a C major scale, most people will go either, sorry, if I say play an A major scale, most people will either go like this, or but what if you're not here? What if you're here? Then you're going to play an A major scale. Okay, so using this method of the grid will really help you to start thinking about where you're playing, the notes that are around, and how you can play in a position but using any key. So this may be a bit complicated if you are not a fairly experienced player. So again, we can break this down and make it even easier or more straightforward. So let's just use root notes, okay? So we're going to start, let's go with the 12th fret. So in this 12th fret area, so let's say from 12 to 16, we're going to find just notes, and this will help you to learn just the basic notes within the fretboard. So let's say we're going to learn to play A. So we've got in that area. Let's go down. We're going to play E. Okay. B. F. Now let's move it back. Let's go to position 9 here. So do the same thing. We'll come up this time. So we're going to play G. Where can we find a G? An E flat. Where can we find an E flat in this position? An F sharp. And a B flat. Okay, so this doesn't have to be complicated. If you're not that used to moving around the fretboard and knowing exactly where everything is, number one, you can break it down and make it a bit simpler by using it just to find notes or chords, and secondly, you can use it to then start practicing full arpeggios, major 7s, minor 7s, dominants, all of your scales, etc. So you could use it here. So you could say play all of the chords within the key of A here. Well, that was a bit crackly. Okay, so there's your A major. So the second chord in a major scale is a B minor. So using that one position, you could pick a different key. You could pick the key of C and do the same thing. So it really teaches you to play positionally and to learn the fretboard, and you'll start to see shapes and patterns develop that you wouldn't have done before, and it will help you when you're improvising to instantly see where things are and familiarise yourself with patterns around the fretboard. So that explains the grid. I hope that made sense. I'm sorry if it didn't, because sometimes it's quite difficult explaining these things, but anyway, that's the grid. See you later, alligator.